Have you ever wondered what sets apart those who age actively and energetically from those who seem to fade quickly after 65? The truth might be surprising. While many people begin to lose important skills and abilities at a certain age, only a few retain extraordinary capabilities that predict not only independence later in life, but also a significantly longer lifespan. What if there are 7 specific abilities that, if a person can still perform them between the ages of 65 and 80, place them in an elite category of aging that healthcare professionals rarely observe? These powerful indicators will now be revealed, proving not only that aging is going exceptionally well, but also that they could add a decade or more to life. Consider the story of Howard, a 78-year-old retired engineer who surprised his doctor during a routine checkup. After performing several assessment tests, the doctor looked up from his notes with genuine surprise. "Howard," he said, "according to these tests, your physical and cognitive functions are consistent with those of someone in their early 60s. Howard was puzzled. He hadn't taken any special measures, simply following his usual daily routine. He didn't realize that his habitual lifestyle had preserved abilities that most of his peers had already lost. And these weren't just impressive tricks. They were powerful predictors that Howard would likely outlive his friends by 10 to 15 years. And we will reveal what these abilities are so that everyone can assess their current condition. The first warning sign of impending old age is the loss of the ability to rise from a chair without using your hands. A seemingly simple effort, like getting up from a seated position without support from the arms, serves as a powerful predictor of longevity. Surprisingly, by age 70, about 60% of people lose this basic ability. Researchers from the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy have identified that this movement is so informative that it is used as a primary tool for assessing potential lifespan. Dr. Sarah Matthews, a leading researcher, emphasizes that the ability to stand without using your hands demonstrates outstanding lower body strength, balance, and neuromuscular coordination. These 3 factors are direct indicators of both lifespan and independence in old age. Consider the example of Deborah, a 72-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. At her monthly book club, she noticed a curious detail. She was the only one who could get up from the couch without using her hands or outside assistance. Deborah admitted that she had never thought about it and assumed everyone had this ability. She didn't realize that this simple ability indicated the preservation of critical muscle mass and balance that her friends had lost over the years. Half a year later, 2 of her friends fell, leading to hospitalization, while Deborah continued to lead an active and independent lifestyle. Want to know the state of your body right now? Try the following exercise. Sit in a chair with your arms crossed over your chest. Then, without using your hands and avoiding leaning forward significantly, try to stand up. If you can do this without difficulty, then you possess an outstanding ability that sets you apart during the aging process. If you have difficulty performing the test, don't despair. It is possible to strengthen this ability by starting to practice a simple exercise today. It is recommended to perform 5 chair stands every morning before eating. You need to sit in a chair and stand up without using your hands. You can start with 1 repetition if that is your limit at the moment, and gradually increase the number of repetitions. With regular exercise, you can notice significant improvements in just 3 weeks. Don't wait until you completely lose this ability. You should start strengthening your muscles now while they haven't weakened completely. Your future independence directly depends on it. The second important sign of good health is the ability to maintain a conversation while walking. If you can hold a coherent conversation while walking with someone without stopping, slowing down, or experiencing shortness of breath, then this indicates an exceptional ability that many of your peers have already lost. You may have noticed how some older people have to stop moving when they start talking. This is not just a personal preference, but a warning sign. Neurologists from the Mayo Clinic have identified the so-called dual-tasking ability as one of the most significant predictors of brain health and longevity. Dr. James Wilson, head of geriatric neurology, emphasizes that the ability to walk and talk simultaneously requires intensive oxygen consumption, active cerebral blood flow, and coordinated neurological integration. When these systems begin to fail, performing walking and talking at the same time becomes one of the first tasks to cause difficulties. Take, for example, Gerald, 76 years old, a former accountant who, in retirement, enjoyed daily walks with his friends. Over time, he noticed a curious detail. His walking companions, engrossed in conversation, would often slow down, practically freezing in place when they wanted to say something, or they would prefer to remain silent, occasionally interrupting it only during stops. However, Gerald easily maintained his usual pace, never losing track of the conversation even when discussing quite complex issues. He had no idea that this seemingly insignificant ability testified to his outstanding cognitive and cardiovascular health, placing him in the ranks of a true elite. About 3 years passed, and 2 of his regular companions suffered strokes, while Gerald continued to radiate energy and remain cheerful. The doctor explained to him that his ability to move and speak simultaneously without difficulty all this time was an undeniable sign of excellent brain and circulatory system condition. But what can be done today? During your next walk, try reciting a poem, singing a favorite song, or even counting backward from 100 without slowing down. If this seems difficult, start small. Just 30 seconds of walking combined with talking. Gradually increase the duration of these workouts. This is not just a physical exercise, but a real workout for the brain, which can literally save your life. Don't put it off until later. Start right now, because with each passing day, it becomes more difficult to maintain or restore these vital neural connections. The third important indicator of health is the ability to maintain balance on one leg for 10 seconds or more. It may seem like a simple exercise, but it is a powerful predictor of mortality risk. Anyone can check themselves right now. Just set a timer and, slightly lifting one foot off the ground, try to maintain balance. An innovative study published in the authoritative British Journal of Sports Medicine shed light on this issue. Scientists observed the condition of more than 1,700 adults and came to a striking conclusion. Dr. Claudio Gil Suarez Diaro, the lead researcher, emphasized that participants who were unable to stand on one leg for 10 seconds faced an 84% increased risk of death over the next decade compared to those who successfully passed the test. Surprisingly, the balance test turned out to be a more accurate indicator of life expectancy than factors such as age, gender, or the presence of serious diseases. As an example, consider the story of 2 sisters. Alice, 74, regularly did balance exercises after retirement. During one of the family gatherings, she demonstrated her ability to stand on one leg, causing laughter from her sister Irene, also 70 years old. Irene dismissively remarked that it was silly, and it was unclear why it was needed at their age. However, just 3 months later, Irene fell seriously, breaking her hip, which led to complications that significantly limited her independence for many years. Alice, on the other hand, continued to lead an active lifestyle, travel, and enjoy life without fear of falling. It is noteworthy that the ability to maintain balance can be improved at any age. To ensure personal safety, it is recommended to immediately take simple but effective measures. In particular, it is proposed to stand near a stable support, such as a rack or chair, and begin training to balance on one leg. Start by holding your balance for just 5 seconds, repeating this exercise 3 times for each leg daily. As you improve your skill, gradually increase the holding time to 10 and then to 15 seconds. The most convenient times to incorporate this useful practice into your daily life may be when a person is brushing their teeth or waiting for coffee to brew. It is important not to wait for a fall to realize the importance of maintaining balance. Often, awareness of impaired balance comes only after a serious injury. Therefore, it is necessary to start developing this ability today. Even if you can only maintain your balance for a few seconds at first, it will pay off in the future, providing stability, confidence in your movements, and freedom from falls, while your peers may have difficulty moving around. Another important sign of healthy aging is the ability to clearly remember names and recent events. How easily do you recall the names of people you recently met? Do you remember the details of conversations from last week without much effort? If the answers to these questions are positive, it indicates the preservation of cognitive abilities, which is one of the most reliable predictors of exceptional brain aging. Neuroscientists at Harvard Medical School have found that the ability to remember names and recent events after age 65 indicates remarkably preserved neural networks. Dr. Emily Carson notes that, contrary to popular belief, significant memory decline is not an inevitable companion of aging. Adults who retain good memory, especially for names and recent events, demonstrate superior brain connectivity patterns, which are directly related to longevity and resistance to dementia. The story of Walter, a 75-year-old man who amazed his loved ones with his phenomenal memory at a birthday party, is a vivid illustration of the capabilities of the human brain. He not only flawlessly named everyone present, but also recalled details of conversations that had taken place many months ago. Walter's son jokingly noted that his father's memory was superior to his own, unaware that this ability was an important indicator of slowed brain aging. According to recent studies, adults over 65 who maintain this memory function are 47% less likely to develop dementia and tend to live 7 to 10 years longer than their peers with typical age-related cognitive decline. There is a simple practice available to anyone who wants to strengthen their memory. When meeting a new person, it is recommended to immediately repeat their name in conversation and note some distinctive feature of their appearance or character. In the evening, before bed, mentally recall the names and details associated with the people you met during the day. This method helps to form stronger neural connections needed for memorization. For those who are already experiencing memory difficulties, it is recommended to start small, memorizing just one name a day and gradually increasing the load. Consistency is key to success. Doing this simple practice daily can lead to noticeable improvements in memory function in just a few weeks. Memory decline should not be seen as an inevitable process. People who maintain outstanding memorization skills in their 70s and 80s do so not just by luck. They actively support one of the most important factors determining a long and independent life. The question is whether the reader will want to follow their example by starting to train their memory today, before more neural connections are lost. Sound sleep and waking up feeling refreshed is the fifth sign of longevity. Uninterrupted sleep at night, after which a person feels full of energy, is a physiological advantage that becomes increasingly rare after age 65, but can significantly extend life. It is important to ask yourself about the quality of your sleep. Were there awakenings during the night, or was the sleep deep and restorative? According to sleep researchers at the Stanford University Center for Sleep Sciences, quality sleep becomes increasingly rare with age, but it remains one of the most important factors in longevity. Dr. Richard Thompson emphasizes that studies show that adults over 65 who maintain effective sleep cycles exhibit significantly lower levels of inflammation markers, improved cognitive function, and a 32% reduced risk of cardiovascular disease compared to those whose sleep is fragmented. As an example, consider 77-year-old Diana, who has prioritized sleep hygiene throughout her life. While her peers increasingly resorted to sleeping pills and complained of fatigue, Diana maintained natural sleep patterns and woke up full of energy. She did not realize that this ability set her apart in a special category of aging people. Subsequently, her doctor explained to her that the effectiveness of her sleep was equivalent to that of someone 20 years younger, and that this factor contributed to her excellent health while her peers were developing chronic diseases. To strengthen such an important ability as quality sleep, you can take a number of steps starting tonight. First of all, it is necessary to establish a strict sleep schedule, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, regardless of the weekend. It's important to avoid using electronic devices that emit blue light at least an hour before going to bed, as this light inhibits the production of melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep. The optimal temperature in the bedroom should be cool, between 18 to 20 degrees C, 64 to 68 degrees F, while ensuring complete darkness. If you happen to wake up in the middle of the night, avoid looking at the clock, as this can cause anxiety and prevent you from falling back asleep quickly. It is crucial for those who currently rely on sleeping pills to discuss with their doctor the possibility of gradually transitioning to natural sleep. While this process may seem difficult at first, scientific research convincingly demonstrates that natural sleep has far more protective properties for the body than sleep induced by medication. The importance of quality sleep should not be underestimated. It's not just about a subjective sense of well-being, but also about providing the body with the necessary time to repair damaged cells, cleanse the brain of toxins, and regulate vital hormone levels. The few people who can boast excellent sleep even after the age of 65 are not just lucky. Each restful night prolongs their lives, giving them years of active longevity. Is it worth joining their ranks? You should start making these changes tonight, as every night of poor quality sleep accelerates the aging process in the body, which can have undesirable consequences. The sixth distinguishing characteristic of maturity and clarity of mind after 65 is the ability to have a meaningful conversation without seeking to dominate. Surely everyone has observed how some older people tend to seize the initiative in a conversation, repeat the same stories several times, often without realizing it. The ability to maintain a balanced dialogue, listening attentively to the other person and sharing your thoughts equally, demonstrates exceptional brain function. Social neuroscientists at the University of California, Los Angeles, have found that reciprocity in communication, that is, the ability to listen attentively and respond adequately, avoiding monologues, is an indicator of high activity in the prefrontal cortex in older adults. Dr. Amanda Sutton notes that the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for social awareness and impulse control, usually shows a significant decrease in activity with age. However, those who maintain balance in conversation, even after 65, demonstrate remarkable preservation of executive brain function, which is closely linked to increased longevity and cognitive health. As an example, consider the story of Victor, 81, whose company was always desired by friends and family. While many of his peers gradually became isolated, Victor continued to maintain meaningful relationships because he was easy and interesting to talk to. He knew how to ask questions, listen carefully to the answers, and share his thoughts without seeking to dominate the conversation. Victor had no idea that this social ability not only made him a pleasant conversationalist, but also reflected exceptional brain preservation, which in turn is a harbinger of a long and active life. Notably, this valuable skill can be developed through simple practice that is accessible to everyone today. During your next conversation, it is recommended to pay close attention to the balance between your own speech and attention to the words of the other person. As a guideline, you can set yourself the task of asking at least 2 questions for every story you tell. It is necessary to practice active listening, which involves briefly summarizing what you have heard before sharing your own thoughts. This is not just a matter of good manners, but an effective exercise for the brain, helping to strengthen neural connections that play a key role in maintaining cognitive function for many years. If you feel that a monologue lasts more than a minute without involving the other person, you should pause and give them an opportunity to speak. Such conscious behavior can significantly improve the quality of social interactions while training important brain functions. The exceptional importance of this ability should not be underestimated. By the age of 75, most people experience a noticeable decline in reciprocity in communication. Maintaining this skill demonstrates outstanding brain preservation. If signs of weakening of this ability are detected, you should immediately start training. Neural pathways can be strengthened at any age, but starting earlier provides the best results. The seventh distinguishing characteristic of long-lived people is their ability to easily master new technologies. How easy is it for you to use modern gadgets, basic applications, and new digital tools? If so, you possess cognitive flexibility, a quality that becomes increasingly rare after the age of 65 and directly affects potential lifespan. Research from the MIT Age Lab suggests that the willingness and ability to adapt to technological innovations are powerful indicators of maintained independence and cognitive health in later years. Dr. Joseph Coughlin, who leads the Age Lab, emphasizes that older adults who successfully adapt to new technologies demonstrate a high level of neuroplasticity, that is, the brain's ability to form new neural connections. This adaptability doesn't just make life easier, it is a harbinger of long independence and slowed cognitive decline. For example, consider the story of 76-year-old Emily, who enthusiastically embraced smartphones and digital tools, unlike many of her peers who considered themselves too old to learn. During the pandemic, Emily easily mastered video calls, online shopping, and digital healthcare services. Meanwhile, her friends who were unwilling to adopt new technologies faced isolation and dependence on outside assistance. Emily realized that her willingness to learn new skills not only maintained social connections, but also activated important neural pathways, directly contributing to longevity. Surprisingly, receptiveness to technological innovations is determined not by past achievements or natural talents, but rather by mindset and regular practice. To strengthen this ability, concrete steps can be taken today. First, identify one digital skill that has been difficult or avoided. Whether it's mastering a specific app, setting up online banking, or participating in video conferences, dedicating just 10 minutes a day to practicing that skill, using online tutorials, or seeking help from knowledgeable individuals is sufficient. It's important to approach new technologies with curiosity rather than frustration. When faced with difficulties, instead of thinking, "This isn't for me," try a different approach. "I haven't learned this yet?" This simple shift in perspective activates different neural pathways and significantly improves learning effectiveness. Do not underestimate the importance of this ability. By age 70, more than half of the adult population experiences significant resistance to technological adaptation. However, maintaining the desire and ability to acquire new digital skills indicates remarkable cognitive flexibility. If this area presents particular difficulty, start small today. Even 10 minutes of focused practice strengthens neural connections, keeping the brain adaptable, engaged, and biologically youthful. These 7 skills represent more than just a set of impressive abilities. They serve as significant indicators that the aging process in the body is proceeding much slower than that of peers. If a person easily manages even 3 or 4 of these tasks, it indicates their outstanding vitality, uncharacteristic of their age. In cases where performing some of them is difficult, the proposed simple exercises can help strengthen these abilities, starting today. It's important to understand that we're not just talking about convenient skills, but about powerful harbingers of how long and fulfilling life will be in the coming years. Those rare individuals who retain these abilities into their 70s and 80s are not simply lucky. They actively support the bodily functions that ensure independence, energy, and longevity.